I'd like to give over to Dr. Lou Ritz, who will introduce our keynote speaker, and then we can enjoy also our keynote talk for today. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon and welcome everyone to Mindfulness Day. I'm Dr. Lou Ritz from the College of Medicine and from the Center for Spirituality and Health. And it's my honor and privilege to introduce Michael Singer as the keynote speaker for our first annual UF Mindfulness Day. Michael is a well-known and highly respected teacher of spirituality and mindfulness. His New York Times best-selling books, The Untethered Soul and The Surrender Experiment, are truly life-changing and have inspired people from all over the world to better their lives. When Oprah read The Untethered Soul, she said it instantly became her favorite book, and she was giving it to everyone she knows. Oprah did an hour-long interview with Michael, who introduced people from all walks of life to his direct, down-to-earth approach to mindfulness and spirituality. Here in Gainesville, we know Michael as Mickey. He is a UF graduate and has lived here teaching and practicing yoga and mindfulness for over 45 years at the Temple of the Universe. Mickey strongly believes that spirituality is for everyone, and his teachings have transformed the lives of millions of people worldwide. Mickey truly has a rare gift for communicating mindfulness in a practical way that everyone can grasp. We are pleased and honored that he is with us today to share his insights. His talk today is entitled, Mindfulness is a Way of Life. Please welcome Mickey to Mindfulness Day.
Hi. Is this on? Can you hear me? Is this on? Yes? No. Help? I know. What am I supposed to do? I'm being mindful, I asked. What?
Did you switch it on?
No.
Oh, it's not on.
There we go.
Switch this on. Oh, it just doesn't switch.
It says on.
Okay.
Is that better? Okay. Now we're turned on. Very good. Well, I'm obviously honored to be asked to be the keynote speaker of the first UF Mindfulness Project Day. And I cannot imagine a more important topic. I view mindfulness probably, as I do with everything else in life, differently than others. I do not see it as a meditation technique. It is that, all right? Often the word mindfulness is used for what we call witness consciousness, subjective observation, just being aware enough to watch your thoughts, watch your emotions go by, and be aware of the world in front of you. I think that it is much broader than that, and that it really is something that you could argue is the most important piece of knowledge or knowledge that you could possibly learn. So let's take an example. So how do people define mindfulness? The simplest term that it's been used in is being present, bringing consciousness to bear. Those are new agey types of concepts that we talk about. Ram Dass did what? Be here now, right? Just bring your awareness of being into the current moment and be present. It sounds good, but to me those are just words and it doesn't really come all the way home. So I'd like to start with an example, because we're not the first people to use the word mindfulness. It has been used in the English language for a very long time. Let's say you're driving. Driving is an excellent example of how we can understand mindfulness. When you are driving, there are traffic lights. And I don't know if you noticed, but they change sometimes. And it is really important that you know that. Did you get it? All right? And also, in front of you, there are other drivers. I hope you noticed that. And they sometimes step under brakes. And these red lights come on in the back of the car. It's very important that you notice that. This is mindfulness. It's best that you be mindful when you're driving. When you go to change lanes, are you aware that even if you look in your mirrors that there's a thing called a blind spot? You best be mindful of that. So if somebody's teaching you how to drive, they might use that word. Be mindful of all times of what's going on around you. That is mindfulness too, all right? And it is exactly what we mean by being present in the moment and bringing consciousness to bear. All right? That's kind of neat, isn't it? So you really do know about mindfulness. What happens if you're driving and you're not mindful? You crash very, very quickly. All right? Aside from the fact that there are lights, there are other cars, there are blind spots, there are these things called curves in the road. It best be that you know that. That's funny, but do you understand what I'm saying? If you don't pay attention to this, if you are not present when you are driving, it will not take 10 seconds before you crash. Do you understand that? You are not, I mean, forget about this, texting and so on, right? I'm just talking about if you're not mindful. Or sometimes I say to people, let's say you're driving and somebody cuts you off, all right? Which is really important when we start talking about mindfulness. It's best that you notice it, all right? Now you're being asked to interact. You're being asked to be present and be present enough to decide what to do. What are your actions? I will ask you, is the amount of mindfulness that you bring to your driving going to affect the quality of your driving? How many tickets you get, how many accidents you get in, and how well you do. Let's say you're a race car driver. Could you use the amount of mindfulness that you bring to driving for driving at Daytona at 180, 200 miles an hour with 15 cars passing you? And the answer is no, you better not. Okay, you best bring a lot more mindfulness to the presence. And what that means as a race car driver, right, is that hopefully there is nothing else going on. You're not thinking about the fight you had with the wife. You're not worrying about this or that. You had best bring your consciousness to bear in what you are doing or you are in big trouble. All right? But it's not just in driving, because I'm going to put that aside. In that particular case, if you do not be mindful, you're in trouble. Not just as a race car driver, that's required more. So the more, I'm going to argue that the more professional you get and the better you want to do, the more mindfulness you better bring to bear. Let's say you're an athlete. You're a golfer. You're playing baseball. Ever hear the term, keep your eye on the ball? Okay, is that not mindfulness? Is that not presence? There are professional league, I know in baseball, I don't know if it was Stan Musial or one of them, one of the great batters, used to say that when he would go to the plate, he would go into what's called the zone. Ever heard the term? That's mindfulness. That's complete mindfulness. In other words, there is nothing else going on but the pitcher, the ball, and the presence of the bat. And literally, some of them have said, and great boxers have said it too, right? That when they go in that state, everything goes into slow motion. That literally, there's so much awareness that is brought to that moment that it is as though you are super conscious, right? And you can see the seams on the ball and et cetera. I'm not talking about an altered state of consciousness. I'm just saying you are so much more conscious that your experience of the moment has literally changed. That's mindfulness. Isn't it neat? So you do know something about it. But the main thing that I want to bring to it is whether you're talking about sports, whether you're talking about driving, right? The more consciousness you bring to bear, I like that term, right? I can use it because we're using examples. Isn't that bringing consciousness to bear in the current moment? The more consciousness you bring to bear in the current moment, the better you are at what you're doing. Anybody want to argue that? Right? Just take the extremes. Don't bring any. Okay? And by the way, as students, some of your students, all right, you might find yourself in a classroom and there might be a professor giving a lecture. I want to know whether you think it's going to affect how well you do in that class, how well you are listening to what that person is saying, or whether you are off doing something else instead of being present, like when you drive, etc. It's the exact same thing, isn't it? So it's no different than keep your eye on the ball. If you were to pay attention, I think of a story, some of you know I had a business background, and I don't want to do it big, and I've never talked about this, but I remember sitting at a table, it was a big merger that was going on, and I was sitting next to the CEO, chairman of the board, and this was multi-billion, big stuff. And on the other side was the other people, and on this side was our people, and I basically, the other side was talking, and I turned to this gentleman. He's a billionaire, regular business person, right? And I made a comment. I just said, that's interesting. And the guy turned to me just for a second. He said, stop it, I'm concentrating. And I looked at him, I didn't realize, that man, I wish I could meditate. Don't laugh. He was paying attention to every word that person was saying to make sure that he was going to get the edge. Do you understand that? To make sure he did not miss one single place that later he could do something, manipulate. I'm not saying it's good, I'm not saying it's all good stuff, all right? But basically this idea that you are going to be better at what you are doing if you're there. What do you think? Okay, all right? And that's mindfulness. Isn't that neat? That's mindfulness. It's the willingness to say, there is a task at hand. I'm not going to tell you what the task is. You say what the task is. All I'm telling you is if you learn to be mindful, and you can learn to be mindful, that's what's nice about it. I don't want people coming here and say, oh, I'm not good at that. Do you understand that? Well, I always tell everybody, when you walk into calculus class for the first time, and the teacher says, now you're in calculus, don't raise your hand and say, I'm in the wrong class. Why? I don't know anything about calculus. You're not supposed to know anything about calculus. You're supposed to learn. We have this word called learn, right? You are the most intelligent species. I know we don't act like it, but you are the most intelligent species in the entire planet, all right? You have the ability to learn. Dogs can learn to drive cars. They can learn to do rollovers. All kinds of stuff goes on. You can learn anything you want. Do you understand that? Doesn't mean you can be the best that ever lived. You want to play the piano? Learn. You want to play tennis? Learn, right? You want to learn to be mindful? You want to be mindful? Learn. So don't talk to me about the fact that I'm not good at that. I don't, right? You just take it on, and what I want you to get from this discussion is, yeah, I want to do that. I'm not going to teach you how to do it. I don't teach how to do it, right? But I want to teach you to want to do it and to realize that this is not some little exercise. It's not, oh boy, I'll go meditate a little bit. It looks neat. It's a little fun. It'll quiet me down a little. No, this is your life. If you are not present, you miss your life, all right? And you are better at every single thing you do, the more consciousness you bring to bear. And there are extremes at it. For example, let's take art, music, all right? If you are truly a musician, when you are playing, you are not present. But you just said you want to be present. You are so present in that music that you lose yourself in it. You should not be there. Do you understand that? You don't even know where you went. It became, you know, in the yoga scriptures they talk about it. It sounds so mystical. Buddhism talks about it too. When subject and object become one. You ever heard that? Right? That's the deepest state of, Patanjali talks about that in Yoga Sutras, right? When subject and object become one. That is that state in music. I wanted to bring it down to everyday life, right? Golfers talk about that. Again, the zone, where it just happened. It just flowed. I didn't do it. I was just one with it. But you know music does that, doesn't it? You can just merge in the music and you go away. And then you come back and it's like, whoa. Another thing, some of these things, aside from that discussion with the chairman, I was watching when Vladimir Horowitz was invited to go back to Russia after the fall of the Iron Curtain and everything. There was a concert he played. Many of you may have seen it. And I saw a video of it. And there was just this little old man sitting up on a stage with this giant St. Petersburg or somewhere's auditorium. The beauty of it was not what he was playing. They were panning the audience, and I'm telling you, I've never seen such a thing. Tears were uncontrollably pouring down the eyes of almost all the people in that auditorium, right? Just pouring, it's like a waterfall, just pouring off. What is that? Because he went into that state, it literally brings others into that state. That is the beauty of art. That's what that's about, right? You're touching a deeper place within yourself, right? And we're gonna talk about that. So now do you understand my idea of mindfulness? This is nice stuff, all right? And by the way, it wasn't just Vladimir playing, all right, or the musician. Ever hugged someone you love? Ever melted? You got real quiet. Ever hugged someone you loved and didn't? It's not so easy, is it? Not so easy to lose yourself, is it? Okay, but it's really beautiful when you do it, isn't it? Right? It's the peak experience. It's Maslow's peak experience, right? When you totally, it's self-actualization. When you lose yourself in what you're doing, that, funny as it sounds, that's the most mindful. Funny, right? It's because you're 100% of your consciousness is focused on what you're doing. There's no distractions. There's nothing pulling you anywhere else. You become one with what you're doing. Ever read a book and realize you didn't understand a single thing, you have to go back 4 pages? That's not mindfulness, right? And have you noticed that if you concentrate when you are reading, you'll remember that forever, right? There are poems you have read, there are songs you have heard, right? Why is it that after 30 years you remember the words of your high school songs that you liked? Because you were willing to be present with them. You gave so much of your awareness to them that they left indelible, deep impressions inside. You have to worry about memorizing or doing this stuff. If you are open, if you are present, if you bring consciousness to bear, you are better at every single thing you do. You understand that? Including relationships and finances and every single thing. It's not just sitting in a corner and trying to enter some higher state of consciousness. All right. So if you were to ask me, that's getting interesting, how do you do that? Right? I approach it very differently than other people. I'm weird, all right? I don't want you to walk away from here thinking the following. Well, I'm not mindful. Okay, I got lots of stuff going on when I'm driving, okay? I always think it's funny that they talk about the texting. Are you kidding me? What you do in your mind is so much more distracting than your texting, all right? They should make that against the law, all right? I mean, come on, you know. You can sit there and drive from Alachua to Gainesville, you don't even know how you got there. Did you? All right, it was kind of on autopilot. I hope it made it, all right? You're just not present. So the question becomes, there's two ways to go about becoming more mindful. One, which is what most people try to do, is to say, I'm not mindful, let me be mindful. I'm eating, let me see, I'm picking up, nothing wrong with that, right? I'm practicing mindfulness. Buddha said, when you eat, just eat. When you walk, just walk. I'm paying attention to my feet falling on the ground. I'm paying attention to the food coming in my mouth. That's very beautiful. And if I talk about alternate ways, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with any of the other techniques. Anything you do is better than not doing anything. That's how non-mindfulness works. You understand that? You are to work on yourself. If you work on yourself, it is like investing in yourself. You get better at everything you do. All techniques are beneficial. Somebody once said, if you take a $50, put it in your right pocket, and every 15 minutes take it out and put it in your left pocket, then take it out and put it in your right pocket, you'll become enlightened. Over time. All right? Because you're practicing mindfulness. You have to pay attention. You have to bring your consciousness to bear at what you're doing. So get this straight. Everything's fine. Whatever techniques you're using, if they work for you, it's wonderful. I said there's two different ways to approach it. One is to say, I'm not mindful. I need to become mindful. That's a willful, very Western way to do things, all right? There's another way, and I like it. It's what I've always practiced, right? Why am I not mindful? Not what do I do about the fact that I'm not mindful? Why am I not mindful? Why is that not my natural state of being? Why do I have to do anything about being here, right? Like when people say, be here now, well, where else are you going to be? Be there then? I don't know. But yet it has meaning. So you stop for a moment, and this becomes a very interesting discussion, right? Why am I not mindful? And the answer, first of all, is, and again, I'll go fairly fast. You can research whatever you want. You are always conscious. It is not that you're not conscious. It's what you're conscious of. Consciousness, an object of consciousness. Consciousness is always there. When you go to sleep, you're conscious. That's why you see your dreams. Is it the same you who see your dreams as the you who wakes up and says, you should see the dream I had? It's not like there's a continuity of consciousness, isn't there? Right? Well, what if you're not dreaming? You're not in REM state. You're in a very, very, very deep sleep. You wake up, and sometimes you say, oh my God, I slept so deep. It was so peaceful. I didn't even have any dreams. How do you know? I'm asking you a question. How do you know? Because you were there. In the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, very deep writing, he says, you are never not conscious. When you go into deep, deep sleep, it is not that you are not conscious, you are conscious of nothing. And that's why it's so restful. In other words, there's no object. You're conscious of nothing, but the consciousness is still there. And the funny part about it is you know that because you come back and talk about it. You understand that? You have, it's kind of it's neat. So mindfulness is not about that you get more consciousness, right? It's about where is your consciousness, okay? And that becomes, why are you not always present? Well, there must be something else that's another object of consciousness that is capturing your consciousness, that is keeping you from being present. You must be getting distracted. right? Now, what do we call it, right? What does our words are so powerful. What does distracted mean? My awareness was on this object, and all of a sudden another object caught my awareness. Oh my God, you're like catching a ball or fishing, all right? It caught my awareness, it caught my attention. They're all saying the same thing, right? So an object can pull your attention toward it, can't it? All right? That's why you're told when you're driving and your cell phone beeps, smartphone beeps, and it's a text, right? Bring your awareness back to the road, okay? Because it's been a proven fact that the amount of consciousness, awareness that it takes to put your consciousness on the object of that phone in text is out of the question. I hope you know that, by the way, all right? It is out of the question. There's all kinds of things you can do, right? You can take a sip of soda, right? But you cannot text because it takes full awareness to push those little buttons. And if that brake light goes on, or if that, I don't need to talk about it. You see that? So what you're being asked to do is if it buzzes and rings, whatever it is, right? You will notice that it draws your consciousness to it, doesn't it? So objects of consciousness can catch your attention. They can draw your attention toward them. And part of mindfulness is you bring it back. See, that very act of not texting while you're driving is practicing mindfulness. And it's a good one to practice because you won't have to be here very long if you don't. Isn't this neat? Okay? Mindfulness is a very practical thing. It is just a question of, are you just doing it because I shouldn't listen to the phone? Or are you realizing the more conscious I bring to bear, the better off I am at every single thing I do? All right? So I want to work with this. So the question is, what is it that's catching your attention, keeping you from being mindful? Because we're not mindful. All right? You're going to notice that when you start paying attention to it. And what you're going to find out is way more distracting than your little smartphone or anything else is your mind. My mind? Your thoughts. You do have those, okay? On the road, there's lights, there's cars driving, but that's not all. Those are not the only objects your consciousness can become aware of or distracted by. I'm driving and all of a sudden I remember that I had an argument with somebody this morning and trying to think what I should have said and what they said and what do they mean by that anyways, and should I call, and is that just me or do you have that affliction also? Okay? And so there are these self-created objects called thoughts. They go on inside of you, right? I don't care that scientists may or may not be able to measure them or do anything like that, right? You know they're there, don't you? And so does everybody else. So your mind, let's just do it this way. Your mind has the ability to create thoughts. I won't get in trouble with that, right? And I don't want to get into neuroscience. Believe me, I don't, all right? I just want you all to admit that you got something in there, which we call mind, that creates these things called thoughts, all right? And they're distracting, aren't they? They're distracting. They pull your awareness toward them, and your consciousness, right, then gets drawn away. It's all a question of how you're splitting your consciousness. You're multitasking. All right? So when your thoughts are created, your consciousness pays attention to them, right? Some thoughts are benign. You drive by and you see a tree, and the mind will just say, oh, there's a tree. Well, I don't know why I bothered saying it. I had a whole discussion about it. I already saw the tree. You don't have to tell me, all right? But he likes telling me, right? So, right? Oh, look, the lines are white that are going by. Well, those things, they don't distract me very much. They just come and go. But there are some thoughts that are quite distracting. And those are what I want to talk about. Because if you want to become mindful, and you do you hear me? I don't know if I succeeded in telling you and you're understanding that you do. You want to become mindful because it's like having a better life. It's like being more alive. No money can buy you this. Do you understand that? That's why rich people have to go out and do more things because they're not mindful. They're too caught up in themselves. And so they got to go jet set and buy things. And it's not the person who dies, who has the most toys, right, when he dies wins. It's the person who is most mindful and enjoying the experience of their life. Forget enjoying, even experiencing the experience of your life. If you're missing the experiences of your life, you don't feel alive. That's why you have midlife crises. That's why all of it happens. That's why you have to run around and do all kinds of stuff. Because you miss your life. It's pretty easy to miss your life, isn't it? Right? Why do I miss my life? Because you get involved in your thoughts. okay? So what happens is there are some thoughts that you have that are different than trees going by or white lines going by. They are what we call very personal thoughts. Your mind is very interesting. It has a way of serving you personal thoughts, okay? Why couldn't I get that? He got that. I should have got that raise. He shouldn't have got that raise. That's not even fair. This world's not fair. I don't even like it here. I think I'm going to leave. I'm going to quit. What are those? Those are not you. That's not your consciousness. Those are thoughts that you're aware of. You are aware of them or you're not, right? If you weren't aware of them, there wouldn't be a problem, right? Your mind is creating thoughts. Your consciousness is being drawn to those thoughts. Therefore, you are paying attention to them instead of paying attention to the reality of what's unfolding in front of you. Have you ever done that? Anybody guilty? Okay. And what you're going to find out when you practice mindfulness, when you pay attention, is this is way bigger than anything I feel bad telling you about it. Right? It's like sometimes people will come to me and say, first it was fun, now it's not. Right? We talk about objective observation. Now we're getting to the traditional mindfulness, right? Krishnamurti called it objective observation. Other people call it witness consciousness. What I would like you to do as your first, hey, we're in school, I get to give you lessons. All right, I'm going to give you some homework. The first thing you do is not go in there and try to change. I told you, it's not a matter of using will to, there are forces that are causing you to be non-mindful. Why not deal with those instead of forcing mindfulness on top of the forces that are forcing you to be non-mindful? Do you see the difference? Mindfulness should be totally natural. There's no effort. It's an effortless thing. But there's something wrong. There's something that's distracting you from being mindful. So basically, your first step is witness consciousness. It is to step back and say, all right, I'm going to take a shower. You take showers? I know you do. All right. I'm going to make any comments. All right. Basically, I'm going to go and take a shower. I'm begging you. I'm asking you. Right. I would like, just once, you will not like me if you do this. I would like you, before you get into that shower, to say, oh, Mickey said to pay attention to my thoughts. Right. I'm just going to take a shower. Pay attention to your thoughts. I beg you. Just watch the thoughts that get created in your mind while you're taking a shower. And then come back and tell me about it. Or tell anyone about it, your husband, your wife, anyone, because you won't. Do you understand that? There is not one of you that would permit me to put my magic stethoscope up against that mind and then on the big jumbotron, every single thought that is being created inside that mind, you gonna let that go up there? Not a chance in the world. And that brings up all this interesting stuff, right? Where do the thoughts come from? Anyways, right? Why am I having these thoughts? I'm not doing them. I don't know about you. I mean, I can make it think. I can say, 16 times 12. I can make it remember somebody's name. Sometimes, very rarely, I put my hands on the wheel and drive. But usually it just goes by itself. How about you? Does it not create its own thoughts? It just creates thoughts. It's like the mind's a thought-making machine. It just, right? And it's fascinating. So witness consciousness, part of mindfulness, is to step back and say, I am not creating these thoughts. I'm not. They are creating themselves inside my head. These thoughts are, I'm the one who's watching the thoughts. I'm the one who's noticing the thoughts, okay? But they're being created by whatever force in the universe creates thoughts. And we can talk about that. It only takes 2 seconds. It's very easy to understand where your thoughts come from. That is not complicated. It may be hard for the neuroscientists to figure out the pathways and the I don't care. I couldn't care less, not one iota. All right? It is easy to understand why your mind creates the thoughts that it does. You have had past experiences, right or wrong. Some of those experiences were pleasant. Some of those experiences were not pleasant, right? I guarantee you the ones that were not pleasant and the ones that were very pleasant are still in there. They left impressions on your mind. That's the data in the computer of your mind. And what is going to happen is that data is going to regurgitate right back up, right? When you see something outside, it'll remind you of what happened when you were 12. Yes or no? If somebody talks, it'll remind you what mommy said, and then you'll be thinking about this. And it's just all right? Skinner said, man is the sum of his learned experiences. He's wrong. You are the one who's watching your mind be the sum of your learned experiences. Can I repeat that? BF's not going to like me, all right? I love him. It's beautiful. He learned something very great, right? Just like Freud, he studied things and he saw that, well, that's your learned experiences talking in there. But that's not who's listening to them. You are in there, are you not? You do notice that your mind talks. Who are you? You're not the sum of your learned experiences. You are the consciousness who is aware that your mind is talking about the sum of your learned experiences. And that is all your mind talks about, is the sum of your learned experiences. Do you understand that? The only thing the computer can do is take the data it's got. The only thing you have is the sum of your learned experiences. And what's really neat is every single one of you have a totally different set of data. I only have an hour, so I have to be disciplined. That is a fascinating talk, right? You all think you all look different? You might as well look like identical twins compared to how different that mind is inside. Because since you were born, you've had totally different experiences than that person over there, and your husband or your wife. You think you know somebody? There's not a chance in the world. That's why you have so much trouble with your relationships. You think they're supposed to be like you. They're not anything like you. Oh, can you understand that? If it's true, if psychology is true, and what's going on in your mind is the sum of your learned experiences, no two people that ever walked the face of the earth have ever had the same experiences. Not even close. Do you understand that? It's kind of neat, isn't it? All right? And so you sit there and you realize that's what's going on. I just spent a minute with it. We can study it. You know, Untethered Soul talks about it in great detail about where those thoughts come from and how to deal with all that. But for now, are you willing to understand that you have had experiences, and those experiences have left impressions on your mind? And that's the data your mind is using, that when you see something, it reminds you of something. You see something, you like it. You don't, every one of your likes and dislikes. Do you understand that? You are not deciding what you like or dislike. Your past experiences are deciding. If they took your blue blankie away too early, you don't like blue. If you had the blue blanket and they left it till you were done with it, I love blue, right? So your thing about how you feel about something, your thing about what you like and what you dislike, that is not you. It is something that this mind that has had these impressions made on it is spewing out because of, that's how the mechanism works. Does everybody understand that? Does that make sense to you? All right? You are the consciousness that is noticing that the mind is doing this. And what the teachings of mindfulness, the traditional ones, are saying, please be that. That's all witness consciousness is. Please pay attention while you are taking the shower that you're not washing your body. Most of you have never washed your body. You have this body, right? What a gift you were given, right? You wash the dog. When you're washing the dog, you wash the dog, right? Your body, you kind of like, you're there thinking what you're going to do, where you're going to go, what happened yesterday. You're totally in your mind. No, I swear, a shower is one of the hardest places to remain conscious. All right? It's just all these thoughts are being generated, right? You go from high to, oh, by the way, I wanted to ask you, we talk about wanting to be happy and not be depressed and have a nice life. Have you noticed that those thoughts affect that? Have you noticed that if you're taking your shower and you get into the shower and we're doing really nice and all of a sudden you're taking the shower and you drop the soap and you remember the time you dropped the soap and you got yelled at because your sister was taking the shower and then you remember how your parents got divorced and then all of a sudden you're depressed when you walk out of the shower? Wow, that shower is tough stuff. This is very important. This is your life. That's why I say mindful is not a meditation technique. It's the most important thing you will ever learn in your entire life. It solves it is either the whole problem or the whole solution. That's up to you. So basically you start noticing, that's your technique, you just start what we call objectively observing that your mind is going to create these thoughts. Don't feel guilty about it. I don't care what they are. It doesn't make any difference. You're not doing it. I don't want you to feel you're doing it, right? There's a movie going on in front of you, right? I don't know where it came from. It's not my business. It's not my fault what experiences I had. Do you understand that? All right? And so basically you learn to just watch these thoughts. And what you're going to do is freak out because you're going to sit there and say, OMG. No wonder. No wonder I'm such a mess. And no wonder I've messed up every relationship I ever had. I mean, those thoughts are, whoa. And they come up with some very interesting solutions. So first real quickly, first thing they do is decide there's a problem. There are no problems. Look at me. There are no problems. A problem means that something is happening outside that you don't want to be happening. Somebody else wants it to be happening. Your problem is somebody else's solution. You understand that? You define the event as a problem. It's not a problem in and of itself. It's the natural result of what's unfolding in front of you. But your mind decides, I don't want this, I don't like this. Then it's a problem. So first it creates the problem, thank you so much, right? Then it spends the next 3 months, or 5 years, or 20 years, trying to figure out what to do about it, okay? And once it figures out how it has a solution, I'll move. This is all your mind, right? First it defines the problem, right? I can't meet the kind of people that I'm looking for around here, right? I think I need to go, I literally had a friend tell me, right? I'm not finding the kind of women that I want to meet. I want to go up to Boston, either for Harvard or this or that. They got all these very intellectual things up there. I have more of a chance he did a study, the probability of meeting somebody that is my intellectual equal or something, right? And I figured if you're thinking like that, I don't want to think about your intellectual equal because you lost it. So, but you hear what I'm saying? That's what we do, isn't it? And then we come up with these solutions. Then we have to think about how we make them happen. They don't just happen because you thought about them. And next thing you know, you have devoted your life to your neurosis. You have devoted your life to these thoughts that are being created in your mind that you don't even know where they're just your past coming back like ghosts. Literally. You understand that? All right. So you start watching, and what you're going to notice is that the reason you're not here now is because you're there now. Do you understand that? So it's not a matter of forcing, oh, do this. You can do that. It's good, right? It's a matter of saying, do I want to deal with the problem? I have a problem. Don't I? I have a problem. Can I deal with the problem? The answer is absolutely. What would it be like if I dealt with the problem? All right, let's talk about what healthy sounds like. Because you're capable of being, a lot of you work with your diets, don't you? Right? You've changed, you don't eat Twinkies anymore. I think they went off the market or something, right? All right. All right? You guys have been good. But what are you doing with your mind? You think it doesn't matter that the mind is creating those thoughts? What does it mean when someone's lost in depression? I guarantee you their mind's not saying zippity-doo-dah, right? Their mind is in there telling them, oh my God, I've tried everything, it's ridiculous, why would I even bother? There's not a single person that committed suicide that their mind did not tell them to do it. Look at me, touchy subject. Do you believe that? Do you understand that? Not a single person ever, right? Suicide's not an accident. By definition, suicide means you did it purposely on yourself, right? Your mind told you, right? I've tried everything, this is not going to work, it's never going to work. Why would I even bother? That's what's going on. Those are thoughts being created in your mind. Maybe you best deal with this. You hear me? Like I said, this is not a joke. Your mind is going to create these thoughts because of the impressions you have stored inside of you. Somebody once raised their hand at one of my talks and said, and it was like this deep question, but I only had a minute left, and said, well, why is the mind so negative? You might notice it is, right? Why would the mind be like that? Why is the mind naturally so negative? It takes 30 seconds to answer that question. It's kind of neat, isn't it? Right? I want to ask you a question. You have had, every one of you have had experiences in your past that were not pleasant. Yes or no? Okay? So since they were not pleasant and you didn't really want to experience them, right? You just let them go and got them out of there quick, right? No, you stored them. Every single experience that ever happened to you that was not pleasant, you kept, didn't you? Right? Some people collect coins, some people collect stamps, you collect bad experiences. But you do. It's not all that funny, right? You do collect, right? Every bad experience that ever happened. Well, what do you expect is going to come from the room where every smell you ever smelled in your life that was putrid, you stored it, took it home, and shoved it into a room? Now go in the room. What's it going to smell like? It's going to stink, right? That is what's going to happen. If you store every single experience that ever happened to you that was not pleasant inside of you, and then wonder why the smell is what it is. Wonder why it keeps spitting up this negative stuff. That's why. Do you understand that? It's getting real quiet. Okay? It's so important to understand this. This is your sanctuary. You're the only one in there. There's nobody else in there. Out here, you got to compete for things. You got to buy things. You know, it's free of charge, right? You are creating your inner environment. It is your mind. Have you noticed that your mind thinks a certain way and all of a sudden your emotions follow? Every single time. Well, then maybe you best pay attention to your thoughts. Maybe we best be working with this. That's mindfulness. It's getting serious, isn't it? Okay, so far we've talked about how successful you are at your career, at your relationships, at every single thing you try to do, and now we're talking about your entire inner state of being, whether you're okay, whether you're happy, whether you like things, whether you're enjoying your entire life. You can't enjoy your life if you have stored inside of you every single thing that ever bothered you. Why? Because you're going to remember that you didn't like it and you're going to try and make sure it doesn't happen again. You've just ruined your life. Do you understand that? All right? You can't experience the moment that's unfolding. You're busy. Now what you've done is I can't experience the moment that's unfolding because I have a way I need it to be. And I have a way it needed to not be. And now all of a sudden you're fighting with life. That's why you're tense. This answers everything. I could just keep talking, right? That's why there's tension. That's why there's anxiety. That's why your muscles are tight. That's why you feel stress. That's why you say it's overwhelming. Because you have stored this mess inside of you. It doesn't sit in there quietly, period. Do you understand that? It tries to release, and it just comes up at all the wrong time. Okay? And therefore, you're so afraid of it, you don't want to experience it again, that you've defined how everybody and everything needs to be for you to be okay. Yes or no? And now you're out there struggling. Instead of enjoying your life and appreciating life and being present with life, you're fighting with life to try and make it be a way that doesn't stimulate that junk that you stored inside of you. All right, if you will watch your thoughts, like I said, this may sound interesting, but you're going to go through a stage where you don't like me. Okay? All right. In fact, sometimes people come to me and say, I was fine before you told me to look. No, you were not fine before I told you to look. You just had not noticed. All right? So, and by the way, now we're talking mindfulness. What I just said there, you just hadn't bothered to notice. Mindfulness means notice. Doesn't it? Right? The traditional way they're using it now, right? The different great writers about mindfulness, they're saying, please take the time to notice. By the way, it doesn't take time and it doesn't take money. Does it? People say, I don't have the time. The time to what? Be there? Right? The time to pay attention to the fact that you've got this mess going inside and you're running around dumping on everybody and doing. All right. So your first thing you do is you watch. Don't do anything about it. Don't try to change your thoughts. I'm teaching you. I don't give techniques, right? You learn to watch. Get to lay of the land. Like anything else, any project you would do, the first thing you do is orient yourself. Correct? That's what witness consciousness is, orientation. Take a look at the lay of the land. Get an idea of what's going on in there. And it's going to freak you out. Relax. That's the whole answer. I'm telling you. Do not feel responsible for your thoughts. Did you hear me? Do not feel responsible for your thoughts. They are not your fault. You did not dial up one from column A and two from column B. Do you understand that? Events took place. You did not deal with them well. What do you mean? If you deal with it well, you let it come and go. You let it come and go. You experience it, pleasant, not pleasant, whatever it is. You get married, it's beautiful. You get divorced, it's ugly. All these different things happen, right? And you move on. You learn from them. You have experiences. You grow. You become a wholer person. Do you understand that? That's what happens when you have experiences. The fact that you took a class means you know more than before you did. The fact that you had an experience means you know more. You are wholer. You are a greater being because you had an experience. And if you didn't, and that goes for every single experience you can ever have. That's what it means to be healthy, doesn't it? Not too many of us are too healthy, are we? Okay? You're here to learn. You're learning. Every experience is teaching you something. So if you're willing to let it come in and merge into your being, then it becomes part of you. We say we can play by heart. You have to memorize it, right? Life is teaching you, and you become a wholer person. But we don't do that. What we do is if something is not pleasant, we suppress it. Write down Freud. We push it away. And if something's pleasant, we cling to it. That's a Buddhist term. We cling to it. We don't want to have the other experience. We want to have that one. So you're missing the rest. And the next thing you know, you're struggling with everything. So healthy means you learn that as experiences unfold in everyday life, this is how you start. First, you pay attention and you notice, and it's not going to work. That's what you should notice. Do not judge your thoughts. It's very important. Do not judge your thoughts. They're just like if you go to a movie that somebody made. It's a movie, I didn't make it. That's how I want you to look at your thoughts. They're passing in front of me, right? I mean, your dreams, you do it. People tell me their dreams. I like telling me their dreams. I don't know, right? And sometimes they're really weird, and they laugh. You see what happened in the dream, right? I was a guy. I'm a girl, but I was a guy in the dream. It was really weird. I was a weird guy too, all right? It's like, and there's no problem talking about it. That's just something your mind made up, isn't it? It's just your mind just made up a dream. Why do you think that's funny? And when your mind makes up all this stuff when you're awake, you think, oh, I'm so embarrassed. How could I think like that? Oh. No, don't do it. Just basically understand your mind is making things up. Think of those thoughts, right, as your waking dreams. Because the mind makes your dreams, doesn't it? Well, the mind is doing that. And just see it as an object. It's a thought-making machine. And you are the awareness who is aware of it. That's the healthy state. And then what you're going to learn is events are going to unfold in front of you on an everyday basis, right? And you're going to start to say, thank you. What do you mean? I get to have the experience I just had. It's okay with me. Somebody beeped at me when I was looking at my phone at the light and I didn't go. All right, well, I know that's tough. Life is tough down here, right? That's a hard one, okay? The mind's are, right? And you need to learn to let that go, right? Somebody doesn't say hello. A friend of yours walks by and did they see me? Did they not see me? Or did I do something wrong? Did they find out what I said to George? Oh my God, what should I call George? What are you doing? You're sitting on a planet spinning through the middle of empty space being neurotic. Right? And so you learn that your mind has a problem. We already know that, right? The mind can't not have a problem. Why? Because you stored every single thing that ever bothered you inside of it and then told the mind to figure out how to make the world be so that it doesn't bother you. I swear to God, in 2 sentences I just told you, that is what you've done. And so the mind stays up day and night. That's why you can't fall asleep at night. The mind stays up day and night trying to figure out how to do that. You need to stop that. Mindfulness, now we're going to the next level. First you watch, and then you say, hey, I need to do something about this. Okay, all right, well don't fight with your mind. Don't try to fight with it. Don't get mad at it. Just understand there's a reason it's doing. Buddhists always talk about working at the root. I keep taking you back to the root, all right? What is the root of non-mindfulness? It is the fact that your mind has all these interesting things to say, all right, and you are paying full attention to them instead of living your life. You're living your mind. Do you understand that? All right? How do I stop doing that? By watching to see why the mind is doing what it's doing. And I told you why. It is doing it because you have stored the data, that stuff in there. You didn't process it. We used to call it gestalt in the 70s, right? Gestalting it. It made it all the way through. It finished. It was done. You follow me? It made it past. When the Beatles went and saw Maharishi, he told them, everything is passing through the universe. It's just passing through the universe. Light, everything is just passing through. It got stuck inside of you. You didn't let that event pass through the universe. I don't know if that's across the universe. I don't know if that's where it came from. But he used to teach that. He taught that, right? That you just see these thoughts that are stuck inside of you. You stop them on their journey through the universe, right? Because you couldn't handle them. You weren't comfortable with them. Relax and let them go. They're trying to continue their journey across the universe. Isn't that beautiful? Right? And so you start practicing that. You start doing this. And you do it with everyday events that are happening to you on a regular basis. The little ones, I call them low-hanging fruit. Right? The ones that you're just causing yourself trouble. Nobody else is causing you trouble. Right? I say there's this litmus test for low-hanging fruit. If I let it go inside of me, would I have to do anything about it outside? If I let go that he beeped, is there anything to do outside? Then why are you giving yourself so much trouble about it? If somebody didn't say hello and you don't know why, right? No, if they saw you or didn't see you, let's say you let that go. Is there repercussions? No. I mean, if they're mad at you, you'll find out. Right? I mean, obviously this is not the time to find out because you're guessing. Does that make sense to you? Like you're causing yourself trouble. You're causing yourself anxiety for absolutely no reason, almost all the time. So now we're saying how beautiful mindfulness is. First, it solved my problem of how well I do at things on tests. If you take a test, by the way, make sure you're there. It really helps, all right? And basically now we're talking about changing my whole inner state to where I can enjoy my life. where I'm not down on myself all the time and causing all these troubles. So that's a big one, that the everyday events that are happening to you, give yourself a break, will you? Okay? If you eat bad food, you're going to get sick. If you let those thoughts be created inside and get all involved in them, one, you will miss the moment that's unfolding in front of you, the next moment, because you got caught in the last one. Follow me? And the second thing is you will make yourself sick, won't you? You will. You'll be scared. Oh my God, what a mess you make inside. Let that go. Then the second, that's one big one, is the everyday events that unfold in front of you. Every second you have the right to practice mindfulness. It is not something you do on a meditation pillow. That's, when you do meditation, they say, did you do your practices today? You've heard that term? That's why they're called practices. It's like going to the practice court in tennis. It's not the match. The match is right here. Everyday life. Every single second. Do you understand that? You're present. Come on, pay attention. Pay attention, all right? You drive, like we talk about driving. How much better did you do when you were present driving? A lot better, right? You're gonna be doing that much better inside if you bother to understand there best be somebody in there paying attention to what's going on as opposed to someone who's not. It's really weird. I can't even think about it. That all of a sudden somebody cuts you off, you go, you jump in the back seat. No, you don't get to do that. How many times inside did somebody cut you off and you jumped in the back seat? You know what I mean by cut you off? Somebody said something, somebody did something, and that was your reaction, to freak out, take your hand off the wheel, and God knows what you said. Do you understand that? Ever lose it? Look at me. Have you ever lost it? You ever thought about what the it is? Yeah, that's a pronoun. It's got an antecedent. Okay? That's what we're talking about. You're supposed to be present. When you lose it, your consciousness gets all lost in all this messed up energy, and then you come back, don't you? And you look at the mess. Okay? Now you see, this is serious, isn't it? All right? Mindfulness is about a way of life. It is about life itself. It is about the quality of everything you do, the quality of the experience of the quality of your life. So the first is the everyday events. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but I got a big one on the second one. Just bear with me. There's another big one in there when you pay attention. You're going to find out that it's not just how you deal with the events that are unfolding in front of you now. Learn to let go. What should I do? Relax. Just keep relaxing. I swear to God, the answer is to relax. Just like yoga, relax, okay? It's inner asana. It's an inner asana. When the events start and you notice your mind doing it, right? You're saying, but I can't stop my mind from doing it. I know you can't, and you shouldn't. You should relax in the face of what your mind is doing. You relax. It's not about your mind. It's about your relationship with your mind. Do you understand that? You're in there. Your thoughts start, just relax. Just relax and lean away. Just lean away, right? And you're going to find out, oh my God, it changes so fast. To get involved, you have to lean into it. If you relax and lean away, you get distance. Then you get time. And all of a sudden somebody says something and the reaction's in slow motion. And eventually you look at it and say, I don't think so. There's no way I'm going there, right? But before you didn't have time, right? It's just, okay, so this is all part of that. Now what is this other big one? You're going to start to notice what I talked about before, that you've stored your past inside of you, but not all of it, just the bad experiences and some of the good ones, but there are way more bad ones. We can talk about that another time. I can explain why it seems like there are way more bad ones, all right? But in any event, you know there are. Okay, what do? All right? Your past, God, you're not going to like me. There is no reason to be carrying inside of you the things you did not like in the past. They are over. That's why we say they're the past. They're over. There is, intelligent people do this thing called cost-benefit analysis when we're making decisions, right? I want to tell you the cost-benefit analysis of carrying your past inside of you, your past experience you didn't like, right? Benefit, 0, cost, 100%. I mean, what difference does it make what your mommy did? What difference does it make whether your parents got divorced and you felt guilty about it when you were 6? What are you doing carrying that in there? Of what relevance does that have? I'm yelling at you. Or I'm scolding you. No, I'm asking you a question. Of what relevance does that have to the moment that's unfolding in front of you? The answer is nothing. All it's going to do is distract you and cause all kinds of problems. There is no benefit to continue to store inside of you the events that happened in the past that you did not like. In a moment, I'm going to stop, right? And you're going to get to ask questions. Any one of you that know a benefit that you would store what happened to you when you were 5 years old and you're 55 now, and you have nightmares about it and it keeps coming back up, what? Of what use is that? Right? And all of a sudden you realize you're doing a totally destructive thing to yourself. What do you mean I'm not doing it to myself? Yes, you are. What do you mean? When it tries to come back up, what do? Give me a minute. No, don't talk like that. No, I can't handle, you know I can't handle that. Stop it. You push it away, don't you? You have hands in there, don't you? You push it back down. Leave me alone. All right, I'm all right now. No, you're not. Okay? You push it away, right? Ready? Stop it. What do you mean? Let it go. You don't want it in there. I'm telling you, you can, I know I went pretty far for an hour here with you guys, all right? It's getting serious, right? There's only one reason that stuff is in there. You put it in there, you kept it in there, and you keep it in there. It is not that there's super glue in there, right? I'm serious. There's no tar paper, there's no super glue, there's nothing like that. There is your will. You have will in there, and you have the right, if you want, to keep things in there, impressions. Why you would keep bad ones, I have no idea, nor do you. It's just that no one ever talked to you about it. I would highly advise letting them go. And you're going to find out it's like a weight of 7 billion pounds gets taken off of you. And so you start to do this when you're conscious. Something comes up, you feel a weird feeling, you have a weird reaction to what somebody said. You hear me? And you look at it, and I'm asking you to check, is this from your past? Is it really about what that person said? Or is it what that person said hit what your ex-husband said? And all of a sudden your ex is talking in there. Anybody listening? Okay. Then I would highly advise not carrying that in there, right? It's a meaningless thing to carry inside yourself. It's totally self-destructive. And so you learn to let it go. How? Learn. That's all I'm going to tell you. You learn everything else. You learn all kinds. You learn calculus. Oh my God. Right? You learn to play difficult instruments. You learn all kinds of things. So learn this. Learn to not carry that stuff inside of you. Learn to let it go. Imagine how much more beautiful it would be if you didn't have that in there. And you could just interact with life. It's called beginner's mind. It's part of mindfulness. Right? Ever heard the term beginner's mind? That every situation that you're having is the first time you had it. And all of a sudden it's exciting. It's, oh my God. You hear me? There's no expectations. There's no judgment. There's no comparing with the past. Right? It's just a new experience you're having, and you fully imbibe that experience. So that also is mindfulness. So mindfulness touches psychology, it touches athletics, it touches music, it touches art, it touches school, it touches everything, doesn't it? Okay, it is not something you do on a meditation pillow in the corner for 50 minutes, but it is that also, right? Because you're practicing. You're practicing letting go. Some people say to me, I can't meditate. That's a lie. What do you mean? They say to me, well, I sit down and my mind is just talks and talks. It won't let go, and it's just one thing and the next, and it goes on. I kiddingly go down and pranam to him. What are you doing? I said, that was really high, what you just said. You were watching your thoughts. You don't usually watch your thoughts. You usually get all caught up in your thoughts. So even what you call a bad meditation is good. If I go on the tennis court and my coach is hitting me balls, and today I'm not good with backhand, right? And I just did really bad on the court because he kept hitting backhand, right? I shouldn't have gone, right? Because I did really bad. Just asking. That was a bad practice, wasn't it? No, that's a good practice. That's a good practice because I needed that work, didn't I? And if I don't do that work, I will not get better. And if I do that work, I will get better. There's no way you don't get better. Do you understand that? That's what learning is about, all right? So if you sit down and you watch your mind and it doesn't stop, the fact that you can tell me that you watched your mind not stop is mindfulness. Comfortable? All right. So this is mindfulness. It's a very great thing, isn't it? And it touches me to the depth of my being to realize, I love the university, I'm so proud of the university, right? Such an honor to live in this town where this institution is here. I've always felt that way, right? It's like now you have a mindfulness project. Oh my God, right? You have an arts and medicine center. You have a center for spirituality and health. You have a center of integrated medicine. Well, you are great, right? You are serious people. So, but a mindfulness project, now that you understand what mindfulness is, right? That's a real gift, isn't it? Right? And yes, they will teach you techniques. There are many techniques, there are many things. It doesn't matter. What matters is that someday you wake up and say, Lucy, you got some explaining to do, all right? I got some work to do. Not on my husband, not on my boss, on me. Correct? All right. Very good. Thank you. Very good. So now they wanted me to do a half hour of question and answer, right? Well, I stopped purposely. I never did an hour talk in my life. I mean, these people are here feigning that I actually stopped in an hour, you know? I was being very mindful about the whole thing. So, if you have questions, we can ask some questions. Yes, sir. Name? What? Oh, right. The green shirt, right there. It's all right. Right there. Lou. Say your name so I get to know your name. It's okay. I'm doing it.
My name is Lauren. When you talk about the past not being beneficial, you're not talking about completely forgetting your past, because I see a benefit in terms of empathy.
Of course.
And in the classroom, I think that can be really powerful.
Absolutely. I'm not talking about forgetting anything. I'm talking about processing it completely so it's not stuck and didn't make it through you, all right? I see a stream, the way I see life, I see a stream, a river, and it's flowing toward the ocean, right? It is either going to go into the ocean and merge with the ocean, and that's great for the stream and it's great for the ocean. You understand that? And it's a constant process, that things are coming in through your senses and they're merging back into your being, right? They're not getting stuck in your mind. That's equivalent to putting a dam so that the river can't go into the ocean. All of a sudden you have to maintain the dam, right? It floods upstream, it's got drought downstream. Dams are serious things. You ask anybody, you know, like you got to maintain them forever because you tried to stop a natural force. That's what we've done with our minds. Not because we wanted to learn. It's not that you don't sit there and say, oh, I want to remember this, right? You sat there and said, I can't handle this. I can't handle this. I don't want this coming closer to me. That did not happen. Do you understand that? That event, no, he didn't say that. No, this person didn't die. No, this didn't happen, right? We don't want it to come closer so it touches the whole of our being so we have the full experience of what it is. Do you understand that? And so it gets stuck in our mind and causes serious problems. Someday you will find out that the Bible says, for everything there's a season, a time for every purpose under heaven. Every experience is teaching you something. Birth, death, good people, mean people, beauty, every single thing is a teacher, correct? And you have the experience. Once it comes in and merges with you, it becomes part of your being. It's a beautiful question you just asked, right? Especially in an educational facility, right? We don't want to forget. It's not that we're not learning things, right? If I go there as a young 5-year-old and touch a stove and burn myself, there's two ways I can take that, right? Either I'm afraid of stoves, I don't cook, I don't have anything, I'm raw, I do raw, but for the wrong reason, all right? Okay? I'm a neurotic mess about stoves. How did I do with that? Terrible, right? The second is I got burned. I guarantee you I will not touch that hot stove again. I will never think about it again, but I can use stoves, right? It became part of my being. It became integrated inside of me. I don't need to keep it at a distance and let my mind get all neurotic about it, right or wrong. That's true of every single experience. So it's not that you don't feel it. It's not that, it's just, I don't know what to tell you. It's beautiful. Everything's beautiful. Not beautiful giggly, right? Life is an instrument. Your heart is an instrument. And when things come in, it plays different notes. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with it? I always think, it's so funny, I give a lecture, is like one of the most powerful emotional pieces that any of you have ever heard is a funeral march. Dum, dum, da-dum, dum, da-dum. Oh my God, is that sad, right? Chopin wrote it. It took one of the great composers to capture the beauty, I can use the word beauty, the depth and beauty of the sadness of loss, right? Why are we not willing to hear that? Why are we not willing to experience that? Doesn't mean it's not sad, but there's nothing wrong with that. So we fully experience the moment, and they make us wholer. All right, thank you. It was a beautiful question. All right, who else? Up here?
Hi. Is this on?
Yes, it's on. What's your name?
It's a profound question. So,
What's your name?
Brenda.
Brenda.
I love what you're saying, and I understand it. And I've decided that I'm a hoarder. My mind is a hoarder, for sure. But one thing I have a question about is regrets. And maybe it follows along the same line of what you're saying, but
Yes.
I struggle with regrets and wanting to correct them. Do you have any?
Yes, I do. You're all asking very deep questions, but you have to listen carefully if I give you a deep answer, right? Regrets have no meaning, they have no purpose, they will destroy you. Anything that destroys you has no meaning or purpose for your benefit. And if you walk around regretting and guilt and fear and all this kind of stuff, you become worse. Do you understand that? Like literally, if I do something and I hurt somebody, you know, in high school I hurt somebody, all right? I'm sure I did. I mean, I'm sure we did. So, you know, you do things and you hurt somebody, but it's stuck in me. It's stuck in me, right? So now what's going to happen, I'm telling you, is I can't be totally kind to somebody else because I'm afraid, because I feel these regrets and I might hurt them. Do you understand that? I can't. It's messed me up. It didn't make me better to be guilty, did it? No one ever got better by being guilty. No one ever got better by having regrets. It is a psychological illness. There is a reason you did what you did. Do you understand that? That you feel regretful about. I would rather have you deal with that reason, let it go, and forgive yourself. Okay, I had a problem, I had a need, I had insecurity, mommy was bad to me, and I took it out on this person. Do you follow me? But I've now worked that through. I always tell people this. This is how you deal with guilt and regret. Are you ready? Listen to me. You sit yourself down, and you honestly and earnestly ask yourself, would you do it again? If the same situation unfolded, given the awareness and consciousness that you have now, would you behave the same way? Would you do the same thing? All right? And I'm assuming you're going to look and say, no way would I even think of doing something like that. I'm not like that anymore. Well, then of what purpose is the regret or the guilt? It has to do with the person that used to be that's not here anymore. You learned what you needed to learn. You have now changed to the core of your being. Let it go. All it's going to do is hold you back. So don't divinize regret and guilt and that stuff. Say, oh, well, I'm a better person because I feel sorry for what I did. All right? You are a better person if you got rid of, transcended the reason you did it, and then move on. You have the right to learn. Do you understand that? I'm back to the calculus class. Right? Am I embarrassed when I walk in that class? I don't know calculus. I don't want anybody to see me. I don't want anybody telling me. Right? It's like, I don't want to learn because it admits that I didn't know. I should have known. What are you doing? You're here to learn. You're here to grow. Right? But if you make it a psychological problem, the fact that you had to learn, how about if I say that? You learned from that experience, didn't you?
Yeah.
Right? Okay, then what's wrong with that? Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. It's a beautiful question.
Hey there.
It's on.
Hello.
What's your name?
I'm Zach.
Hey, Zach.
Thank you very much for this talk. It was very beautiful. So I'm a senior and I'm preparing to go into graduate school along with many other of my classmates. So I was just trying to think and ask you for some suggestions of how to be mindful in preparation for grad school, or looking into the future,
Yeah.
so to not get caught up in that that film in my mind from the future.
Yes.
But then to give myself space to have that too.
Yeah. It's easy. It really is everything I talked about today, right? Is basically life is unfolding, and in your particular life, graduate school is coming. Somebody else's marriage is coming, somebody else's job is coming, somebody else's, whatever it is. That's what life does. It's been doing it for 13.8 billion years. Okay? It's unfolding. Do you understand that? Don't think you're doing it. Right? You understand that? So this is where life has led you, and this is where life has led, right? So the first thing you do is say, it's not a matter of whether I like it or don't like it, right? I'm going to enjoy this process. Don't go to graduate school so you can get out and get a job. That's disgusting, right? Go to graduate school so you can go to graduate school, so that you can learn, so you can have the whole experience. These are precious experiences. You understand that, right? So that's how you do it. It's like your mind is going to make you neurotic. That's what it's going to do. It's a think about this, think about that. No, tell yourself when you wake up in the morning is, I love what I'm doing. If there's a part of you, by the way, if there's a party that doesn't love what you're doing, I don't care. There are all kinds of parts of you, right? The part of you, I want to ask you a question. I'm going to sit down and give you a meal. You haven't had this meal before. You take a first taste, and I say, do you like it? And you say, give me a minute, let me decide. If you have to decide, I beg you, decide that you like it. Why? If you like it, then you like it. Then it's fun. Then it's exciting. You tell people how nice it was. You enjoy eating it. If you don't like it, then it's disgusting. And you wish you never went there, and you'll never go back there again. And right? Which one's better? No, I'm just asking. If you have a choice of having a good experience or a bad experience, why would you choose to have a bad one? So you sit there and start to learn to say, I love graduate school. I love that this class is so hard. I love that the professor's hard to understand. I just, in as much as possible, enjoy the experience of your life. Is that fair enough?
Sounds good.
I hope you heard that, though. So it's a beautiful question. It's like, it's your choice whether you like something or not, isn't it? So why would you ever choose not to like what's happening? It's reality, all right? Like, I'm serious about the past. You get to a point with your past, I want you to be able to say, I love my past. There's not a single thing I would ever change in your past. Well, why should I say that? Because there isn't anything you will ever change in your past. So if you have a choice, and since you're the one who's choosing, I love my past. It was great, right? It was just great. I grew up, my mother was an alcoholic, and my father was that, right? I learned so much. What an amazing experience I had. I wouldn't want to miss that for anything. Oh, and I loved my divorce, the first one. All right, the second one wasn't so good, but the first one was, learn to make it lighter in there, will you? All right? Have some fun. You're the only one in there. Do not make hell of that. All right. Who else? Anything else? Back here, all the way in the back. Oh, we have somebody right there? All right, very good.
Hi, my name is Ellie, and I've been reading research that says every thought you have releases a negative or positive chemical, which eventually can make you ill.
Very good.
And is that what you were alluding to at one time?
It does. What you went down to is the neuroscience of it, right? You brought it down to the medicine, right? The physiology is when you have thoughts, what I said was there's a reason your thoughts are being created. That's even at more of the root than what you talked about, right? There's a reason your thoughts are being created, and that is you stored all this junk in there. I'm serious. It's kind of funny, but not so funny. You hear me? Okay? You stored all this stuff in there, and it doesn't want to stay in there. It's not comfortable. Just like you have an immune system. You have an immune system. You get foreign matter inside your body. All kinds of stuff goes on, like blood cells, blah, 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 right? And it tries to get them out, right? Your mind is way more brilliant than your body, isn't it? That's why we have science. That's why we do all. Your body didn't know how to put itself in a rocket ship and fly to the moon. Your mind did that. Your mind is way more brilliant than your body. Well, your mind has a system that doesn't want that junk in there either. Do you understand that? It's trying to purify itself. It's trying to throw this stuff out. It's not stupid. Get it? All right? You won't let it. You literally won't let it. You push it right back down. All right? So the answer is, the root is that, and you're right. Once that comes up, and your thoughts start doing that, there are all kinds of physiological reactions, such as the chemicals, and tension. I told you there's tension in your body. I tell you, this is funny. I like the way you talk, but it's not so funny, is it? It's serious. This is the quality of your life we're talking about. All right. But it's nice to know it can get that much better, isn't it? Right? All right. Anything else? You got a young lady, Lou, there's a young lady over there and a young man in the back.
I'm not young, so I didn't know if you were talking about me.
Yes, I am.
I've been trying to practice.
What's your name?
Lori.
Lori.
For like a month and a half, and I started reading The Power of Now, agriculture.
Good.
So, well, my trouble is I see the thoughts, so, you know, he says to focus on when you feel or see them, but I still don't know how to, you're saying just let it flow, step back. I feel like I don't know how to do it.
I know. So what I taught you, what I said, it's very simple, right? You see the thought, you have a tendency to do something about it. Have you noticed? Right, and you're trying to figure out what should I be doing about it. I can't. Is the mic not on? It doesn't seem to be going through the system.
Is that working better?
There it is. Okay. No, I heard you, all right? What I'm saying is there's a tendency to think, we're doers. That's what we're taught in the West. If something's wrong, do it, fix it. Do you understand that? That doesn't work here, all right? When you see it, relax. I swear to God, no one can hear this. Once you hear it, you're going to come to me. They do it all the time. Say, oh my God, I got it. When you see your mind creating the thoughts, instantly, the only thing you do about it is relax. If you need to relax your shoulders, relax your chest, relax your butt, fine, you can do it physiologically. But inside, just relax, relax and release. There's nothing to do about it. They are not going to hurt you. Thoughts can't hurt you. Do you understand that? Sticks and stone can break my bones. Thoughts can't do squat. They're just thoughts. They're like clouds in the sky. They hurt you because you resist them. They hurt you because you get involved in them, right? And if energy is flowing, if wind is blowing by me, that doesn't hurt me. If I try to stop it from blowing by me and try to hold a 4x8 plywood, that's a full-time job and I get tired. It can hurt me, can't it? It is the resistance to the thought that creates the tension and the problems, not the thought. So when you see the thoughts being created, let Mickey's voice in there say, relax, relax. And you'll realize there's room in there. You can relax. Lean away from the tension. Lean away from the thought. That's all. That's all you have to do. Don't fight. Don't fight. Relax. And you've just opened up, right? If the water's having trouble flowing through a pipe, right, and the pipe gets all uptight, then it gets tighter, right? The pipe needs to relax and open up so more volume can pass. You need to make more room. That's all you're doing, is creating room inside so that this stuff can pass through. And then it won't hurt you. If you're not constricting it, it will just come and go. Even these big things that you've carried your whole life, they'll just go. They pass. Okay? Very good. Thank you.
Mickey Bobber.
It's on now.
Barbara Brahma, thank you for expanding my now. And the question I have is contrasting mindfulness with the power of intention. Let's say, for example, the late Wayne Dyer, more recent book, Power of Intention. So contrasting that with the idea of mindfulness.
Yeah. So what he's asked, there are some people who teach, and I'm not going to get into the whole thing, that you create your universe. And that what you should do is decide inside with an intention how you want things to be. I don't teach that, okay? I don't even care whether you create your universe, because if you are creating your universe and doing it based on what you want and what you don't want, and how else would you choose? I don't want to be in it. Do you understand that? Okay? In other words, if you still have wants and not wants, and you can't honor and respect that the universe is a phenomenal place and you're supposed to be learning from it. Like when I walk into a classroom, I don't have the right to tell the professor what to teach me. I just admit it, I don't know calculus. I better shut up, you hear me, and learn. If you're busy walking in there saying, but I don't learn well that way, don't teach that way. And when I did algebra, you teach it off, no, you don't get to do that, right? As far as I'm concerned, this is me, you don't get to do that out here, right? Life is unfolding, you are a participant in it. The first thing you do is embrace it. The first thing you do is feel it. The first thing you do is welcome the reality that is unfolding in front of you. Then, if it hits something inside of you that causes a disturbance, that's your problem, not life's problem. If you don't like the fact that Saturn has rings, don't go yell at Saturn. All right? Just learn to let go. So you asked the question slightly differently, right? You asked intention. Mindfulness is your intention. It's not like there's two things, right? Somebody else's intention is to find a husband or find a wife. That's because they're not okay. You understand that? Believe me, the husband and wife will find you if it's meant to. Life will unfold. It doesn't mean you're not participating. It's just that you're being in the moment, and people will be there and things will happen. Believe me, the whole world happened. You weren't here, right? I don't know how to tell you. You weren't here for 13.8 billion years after the Big Bang. It used to just be hydrogen gases, right? And it made all this. What part did you have in that? I dare people to sit there and say, right now we're having an experience. How many other things are happening everywhere else that you have nothing to do with? Like 800 billion, zillion, quillion. Well, they're going on by themselves. And you're perfectly willing to let them. You don't even do anything about it, right? Then this moment in front of you is also going on by itself. It is part of creation. And the first thing you do is embrace it, imbibe it, and let it touch you, right? Then you interact with it. I always teach this. It's not passive. I'm not teaching passivity, right? Once you are present with it, you will see there's a part you're supposed to play in it, and it will always be service. It will never be trying to take what you want, because you don't have a want anymore. You're so filled with joy and fullness, right, of the experience of life, that when things unfold in front of you, it's more of a, how can I help? How can I serve? How can I told everyone, the highest state is every moment that unfolds in front of you, you are completely open to it, and then you look to see, is there a reason this is here? It took 13.8 billion years to get here. It took me, whatever it was, for me to be there with it. It's a match made in heaven. How can I serve? What can I do to lift this moment? It doesn't have to be big. It could be a smile, right? Or it could be literally helping something. Or it could literally be that you find yourself at a table with global warming. How did I get here? I don't know, right? Lift it. Wherever you are, be present and do the best you can to serve what's unfolding in front of you. It's no more a question of what do I want, okay? And so anyways, all I can say is your answer to your question is intention, from the Buddhist sense, and mindfulness are not different things, all right? Your intention is mindfulness, all right? And once you are merged in that, and you practice that intention to be present, to let go of yourself, to let go of all that noise, right? You will find you know what to do every single time. It is so obvious. Do you understand? Like, I'll go back to music. Like the arts, Plato said the arts are the pinnacle. Why? Because real art comes from the place we're talking about. That's where the great master, I mean, Beethoven was insane, right? But he was a master. Like when he played, oh my God, the music drove him crazy, right? Mozart, same thing, all right? It's like they were crazy everywhere else, but you put them in that music, right? And that's why we call them masters. They were completely present, right? Art is the pinnacle because it's not, you're not doing it for yourself, it's doing you. You're losing yourself in it. So all of your life should be art. Every single second should be you expressing and experiencing. It's not about, I'm not okay. Now listen to me. It is never about, I'm not okay. How does everybody else need to be for me to be okay? Please, did you hear that? Because that's how we live in it. I'm not okay in here. I made a mess. How does everybody else need to be? Even the weather. Better not rain tomorrow. All right? How does everything else need to be for me to be okay? That's a non-starter for you and everyone around you, right? So it becomes, I'm going to let go of the mess I created inside, make it perfectly livable in here, nice in here, and then the moments that unfold in front of me, the first thing I say is, wow, look what happened next. Okay? It took 13.8 billion years to get here, and look at it. It used to just be hydrogen gases. Now it's somebody yelling at me. Wow. Wow. Far out. All right? That's your starting position. All right? And then the question becomes, now that I'm present, is there something I'm supposed to be doing about this, right? It's not about I'm not okay with it. Is there something I need to be doing? I am okay. Now, is there something I can do to raise the moment, to raise what's unfolding in front of me? That answer you? All right. You know, 1 or 2 more minutes. Anybody else? Okay. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.